This video is brought to you by Roll for Combat, an official Paizo actual play podcast. Visit rollforcombat.com today to listen to Agents of Edgewatch and join Basil, Dougie, Gomez, and Lomang as they protect and serve the citizens of Absalom from a mysterious and diabolical plot. Hey everybody, today I have for you a first look at the book Absalom, City of Lost Omens for Pathfinder 2nd edition. Two quick notes before I get too deep into this. First, I should let you know that I was provided a copy of this book by Paizo, and second, I've only just received the book, and it will take me some time to fully digest it, especially because this is a huge book. So what follows in this video will be my initial first impressions of the book, and not a fully comprehensive review. Absalom, City of Lost Omens is the latest in Paizo's line of Lost Omens campaign setting books. It is 402 pages from cover to cover and retails for $54.99 US. It is, as I said before, a very large book. To put it in perspective, the previous Lost Omens setting book, the Milwaukee Expanse, which you may recall if you saw my video, I really marveled at the size of that book is only 314 pages. So Absalom, City of Lost Omens is 88 pages longer than the Milwaukee book that already seemed absolutely huge when it was released. Now, the first 75 or so pages of this new book are dedicated to the city's history, government, culture, and industries. It provides an overview of the city's 11 districts, brief bios for key political leaders, and a timeline that stretches from the rising of the Starstone in 1AR all the way to the present in 4720. This section borders on being exhaustive in its detail, with the first 20 pages covering the city's history, followed by another 10 that discusses government, laws, crimes, and criminal organizations within the city. Although I haven't played Agents of Edgewatch, I suspect there's some information that could be pulled from here to flesh out that campaign. The next chapter discusses the city's culture and customs. This section is logically organized by an overview of Absalom being a giant melting pot of cultures from around the world, followed by illustrations of a citizen's life. A couple pages dedicated to describing a day in the life of a citizen, followed by a year in the life that discusses annual festivals and traditions. Details are provided for the different architectural influences of the city, as well as different smells to be found around the city's several districts, and also the cost for hiring a tour guide. Special attention is also given to the various pastimes that may be found around Absalom. Children's games with nursery rhymes about Norgerber, games of dice down at the docks, theaters, opera, games of cards, and more. Almost 4 pages are dedicated to the city's media, from newspapers to town criers to street performers who reenact the day's biggest news stories. A section devoted to trade and industry covers guilds, unions, currency, and marketplaces, including the black market and network of smugglers. Next, the book details the Shadow War, which is Absalom's term for politics. This section discusses in brief the different political parties vying for control of the city, as well as the 10 most politically active noble houses. Similar treatment is given to different factions operating within the city, like Apsis Consortium, the Firebrands, and of course the Pathfinder Society. The last major section from the first part of the book discusses the city's military. Different branches like the First Guard, Star Watch, and Navy, as well as the city's use of mercenaries, are discussed here. That closes the first part of the book, which is all about history and culture, and leads us to the second major section, which is all about the layout and geography of Absalom and its 11 districts. Each major district is provided with a brief summary of its purpose, leadership, services, key NPCs, and more. Maps are also provided for each district that include several numbered locations. Virtually all of these significant locations are described further using blocks like this one. The Black Mask is location number 4 in the Ascendant Court district. It has 4 traits: Criminal, Merchant, Parlor, and Shrine, and each of these can be cross-referenced to learn more about their mechanical benefits. For example, the Criminal trait means unlawful characters may retrain here, and players gain a +1 to underworld lore checks made at this location to earn income. Merchant means players can sell their wares here at 55% value instead of 50 if they have a good relationship with the merchant. The parlor trait means social skills can be retrained here, and using performance to earn income gets a +1 bonus, and shrine means member of the location's faith, in this case Norgerber, gain a bonus to using treat wounds and treat disease here. Following that heading, each location typically has 3 paragraphs. The first is a description. Here we see the Black Mask is a high-end costume shop that is also openly known as a place of worship for Norgerber. Each location's second paragraph is usually some manner of plot hook or other bit of relevant information that can be used to weave the location into a story. For example, every few years, the Black Mask sells skin saw costumes that are used in gruesome murders around Absalom. And the last paragraph for each location notes important NPCs. Here we see Marley, the proprietor, Runewolf, the unbeliever who is the head of the district's law enforcement, Terrace Vaughn, the head cleric to Norgerber here, and Rent, a scowling customer. Each of these NPCs can be cross-referenced in an expansive NPC gallery for more information. Marley is a 3rd level rogue who is loyal to Jonas Flackfatter, another NPC we can reference and bring into the story. Runewolf is a 13th level barbarian and former gladiator. Terrace is a 5th level cleric who longs to rid himself of Marley. Seems like that information could be something that players might have a little bit of fun with. And it turns out that Rent, this unassuming and scowling customer, is a 10th level fighter rogue who actually leads the Skinsaw cult and dislikes the city's other leaders of Norgerber. Now, it would be nice if they also included page numbers for where the full NPC descriptions can be found, but it's all organized alphabetically, so it's really not that big of a deal. In all, 234 different locations in the city receive this kind of write-up, and another 51 locations receive briefer descriptions in sidebars like this one. That's a total of 285 locations within the city proper, but that's not all. The book also goes to detail the Undercity, a network of secret passages, sewers, and dungeons like the Lost Sanctum of Aridin. Each part of the Undercity is given a write-up similar to what we saw with the locations in the city, nothing as expansive as full complete detailed map for its many dungeons, but enough that should provide the GM with information that they can build on. Also included are descriptions of the city's 4 main gates, 2 keeps, and Fort Tempest. And the book also covers the city outskirts surrounding the city, including the communities of Copperwood, Dawnfoot, Shoreline, and Westerhold, as well as a brief overview of the rest of Kortos and the Isle of Arran to the north. The book also includes more generic supporting information like a random shops table, random rumor table, and several indexes to help you find whatever it is you are looking for in this absolutely giant city. The final section of the book is an adventure toolbox that includes 4 new drugs and 2 new melee weapons that are wielded by the book's newish ancestry, the Azarketi. I say newish because this ancestry has been available for a while now as a web supplement, and even has additional feats that are included in the Lost Omens Ancestry Guide, so it's possible you've seen all of this material before. If you're not familiar with Azarketi, they're amphibious humanoids who are descended from the Aslanti. As mentioned at the start of this video, it's difficult for me to do a proper review and give a quantifiable score without having time to fully digest a book of this size, but my initial first impressions with this book are positive. My favorite section of the book without question is the guide to the city, where it details the 11 districts, the Undercity, and the outskirts. Specifically, I appreciate the 230 write-ups for the locations with prominent NPCs and including plot hooks for each and every one of these. I also appreciate how this section is organized with a vast gallery of NPCs to be cross-referenced when looking up the locations. I'm not sure how many NPCs are included here. Honestly, I started counting them and I hit 80 NPCs at the start of names that begin with the letter D. So suffice to say, there are a lot of NPCs covered in this book, And by organizing them this way, they're not bound to one location. Instead, they can be referenced in multiple locations where they work, where they live, where they study, where they eat, and so on. The first part of this book that's all about the history and culture of Absalom, I think may be a mixed bag with some people. Oddly, this section's strengths also feel like its weaknesses, being that there's just so much information in it. It provides an insane amount of detail that some people will love reading, while others I think might suffer from information overload or just not care about some of the minutiae that's provided. Also, this section on history and culture is very dense and it reads very much like a textbook. I think they definitely could have trimmed a couple dozen pages of content and still delivered a quality product, but from my point of view, it's better to have too much information than too little. Also, in that category of it may bother some people but not others, is the lack of crunch in this book. As I've confessed on this channel before, I am a rules person, I love my crunch. This is a setting book, so for most people I imagine the minimal amount of character options and mechanics included is no big deal and probably is expected. There are 4 new drugs, a couple melee weapons, 1 new feat that I saw, and 1 ancestry that we've already had. So if you're looking for Absalom's specific backgrounds, new archetypes, or spells, then this is not the book you're looking for, but if you want a super detailed review of Absalom's history and a really well organized exploration of his districts, temples, shops, and people, then this is definitely the book for you. Anyway, that should give you a pretty good idea of this book's contents. Absalom City of Lost Omens is available now both online and from your friendly local game store. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the book, and as always, thanks for watching, take care, and happy gaming.